came for the lost, the sick and the blind. Salvation and hope. You gave to us freedom. So what will we do with this treasure we hold? Let justice roll on like a river. Let mercy shine bright as the sun. Of the orphan and widow, take care of our own flesh and blood. 'Cause this is the way you called us to love, to share what we have with the hungry and poor, put clothes on the naked, and heal up the broken. True religion.
Good evening, ANC, and welcome to the start of the Easter Tritium. Now, if you've never experienced Holy Week in a church that follows the liturgical calendar, that term might seem a bit foreign to you. The Easter Tritium is a collection of events leading up to Easter, starting on Maundy Thursday and ending with the resurrection event of Easter. The Easter Tritium is a time of reflection when we begin to prepare our hearts and minds for what the biblical witness deems the greatest event in human history. This past Sunday, we celebrated Palm Sunday, where the Christ figure came in on a donkey and the crowds were cheering while laying down palm fronds to pave the way. And today we retreat to the small room where Jesus has gathered with his closest friends to enjoy what would be the last meal before his crucifixion. Today is Maundy Thursday, and the term Maundy comes from the Latin mandatum, which is where we get the word mandate, meaning commandment. So it's no surprise that the scene set before you today is the iconic scene of the Last Supper. It is an intimate setting specifically designed by Jesus himself to impart what would be probably his greatest commandment. And the text for today is coming from John chapter 13, starting in verse 1, and it reads like this. Now before the festival of the Passover, Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart from this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The devil had already put it into the heart of Judas, son of Simon Iscariot, to betray him. And during supper, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going to God, got up from the table, took off his outer robe, and tied a towel around himself. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was tied around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus answered, "You do not know now what I am doing, but later you will understand." Peter said to him, "You will never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no share with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head." And Jesus said to him, "One who has bathed does not need to wash except for the feet, but is entirely clean. And you are clean, though not all of you." For he knew who was to betray him. For this reason he said, "Not all of you are clean." After he had washed their feet, he had put on his robe and had returned to the table. He said to him, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. So if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set you an example that you also should do as I have done to you. And very truly I tell you, servants are not greater than their master, nor are messengers greater than the one who sent them. If you know these things, you are blessed if you do them." Verse 31, When he had gone out, Jesus said, "Now the Son of Man has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself and will glorify him at once. Little children, I am with you only a little longer. You will look for me. And as I said to the Jews, so now I say to you, where I am going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. And by this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." So Maundy Thursday is a day where we reflect on this incredible act of societal upending that Jesus has demonstrated for us. As soon as Jesus bent down to wash his feet, Peter's reaction was, "No way! You can't do that." Peter had lived his entire life under societal rules that informed them that there is a hierarchy to human roles. And that hierarchy precludes someone of greater status to perform an act that was deemed beneath them. Peter didn't understand. He didn't understand that in God's economy, there is no hierarchy of human beings. In God's economy, we are all creations of God, created to be participants in communal love and care. We have an obligation to attend to the needs of others in a context of mutual and reciprocal concern. And this concern is not dependent on status, on race, on class, on how much is in our bank accounts, on gender, physical abilities, physical appearances, or any of the like. Our value and dignity is grounded on the simple fact that we are God's creation. And that is why relations of oppression and domination, acts of violence against other humans, and systems of forced dependence and subjugation are all violations against the divine order. Jesus understood this when he bent down to wash his friend's feet. The scene was so incredible to witness. The Messiah was performing the act of a servant to fishermen, a tax collector, and even the one he knew would betray him in a way that would lead to his death. And in that moment, the fullness of God's vision for humanity was realized. Human beings sharing a moment of equality that transcended the rules of human order. Jesus bestowed an act of mutual respect and care unlike the world has ever seen and perhaps will ever see again. So as you reflect on this incredible act of care, I ask you to think about your own life, your own beliefs, your own actions. How do you see other people? My prayer this evening is that we, as a church, would lead the way of societal transformation. That our hearts and minds would reflect a posture of solidarity like Jesus, where the act of washing feet is not a one-time event, but a lifelong attitude of the heart. Jesus gave a new commandment, to love others as he loved us. We cannot begin to love someone unless we consider them our equal. That's why God became flesh. And now go and do the same.
This is the way you've called us to love, to share what we have with the hungry and poor, put clothes on the naked and heal up the broken and torn.
Friends, in a moment, we are about to celebrate Holy Communion. So at this time, if you would take a moment to go and gather the items to help you do that. You can collect bread, you can use crackers, you can use anything to symbolize the body, and you can use any type of juice or drink that you would like to celebrate the cup. Friends, we now come to a time of Holy Communion. Maundy Thursday is typified by the act of the Last Supper, which is one of the most incredible acts of equality that the church has ever known. So, on the night before he was betrayed, Jesus took the bread and he gave thanks and he broke it. And he said to his friends, "Take, eat. This is my body, which has been given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And in the same manner, he took the cup, and again he gave thanks. And he offered it to his friends, and he said, "Take, drink. This is the cup of my new covenant that shall bring everlasting life, peace, joy, communal love, and respect for all. Do this in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, we shall proclaim the Lord's death until he comes."
You came for the lost, the sick and the blind, salvation and hope. You gave to us freedom, so what will we do with this treasure we hold? Let justice roll on like a river, let mercy shine bright as the sun. Take care of the orphan and widow, take care of our own flesh and blood.
Thank you for joining us this evening here at ANC. We're so happy that you were able to participate with us in what is sure to be an amazing Easter Tritium during this week. Now, if you picked up a Lent box from us, inside you will find instructions for a special act of service that kind of coincides with the spirit of Maundy Thursday. So make sure you take a moment to read that and do it. Go and do the same as Jesus commanded us. And if you did not pick up a Lent box, you can always find instructions for that special act of service on our website under the Lent tab. Again, friends, thank you for joining us, and may you go in peace.